The vast, glittering skyline of Earth's capital city gleams in the twilight, its steel spires reflecting the light of 1,000 distant stars. The streets below are bustling with people, their faces lit with hope and quiet optimism. Earth has been brought into the Galactic Coalition, a peace forged under the shadow of interstellar war. The Virellan Empire, once an enemy, now stands as an ally. The treaty signed in the wake of the War of Unification promises a future of mutual prosperity. Earth, proud but wary, is a part of this new galactic order, or so it seems. Yet, beneath the pristine surface of this peace, a palpable unease lingers. Earth's citizens, those who fought for their survival, find themselves relegated to a distant corner of the coalition, their voices drowned out by the decisions of more powerful empires. The Virellans, their long and convoluted history now intertwined with Earth's own, sit at the galactic table, deciding Earth's fate without the nation's full participation. Earth's sovereignty is only a whisper in the corridors of galactic politics. Peace, they say, but peace at what cost? Commander Mara Keen walks through the narrow halls of the Galactic Peace Council, her mind heavy with the weight of memories. She is a historian, a soldier turned peacekeeper. A decade ago, she fought in the War of Unification, a conflict that saw Earth rise from the ashes of alien occupation to become a force to be reckoned with. The war cost Mara everything: her friends, her family, her sense of safety. And yet, as Earth's proud representative, she now finds herself staring at the price of peace. Peace, she tells herself, was supposed to heal, but it hasn't healed her. It hasn't healed the scars of those who fought, those who bled for a future that now seems far less certain. Mara's role in this new galactic order feels hollow. She's meant to ensure the smooth transition from war to peace, to monitor the alliances that have formed and to maintain the delicate balance between Earth and its newfound galactic partners. But every day, she feels like a ghost, caught between the shadow of war and the reality of this uneasy peace. There are whispers, subtle signs that this peace may not be all it seems. Trust, she knows, is fragile in the wake of such destruction. And Mara, more than anyone, understands the true cost of the quiet, diplomatic surface of the world she now inhabits. Mara's investigation begins innocently enough, a routine check of the Virellan records, a study of the aftermath of the War of Unification. But what she uncovers sends a cold shiver down her spine. Hidden in the dark recesses of the Virellan archives are documents that hint at something far more sinister than mere political maneuvering. War crimes, massacres, systematic suppression of entire populations during the war, a history buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and silence. The Virellans, once the architects of Earth's peace, have concealed the truth of their atrocities. They were not the benevolent peacekeepers they claimed to be, but rather the puppet masters who manipulated the strings of a war that left Earth scarred. Mara's heart races as she pores over the documents. The evidence is damning. The Virellans have kept Earth in the dark, manipulating the peace process for their own gain. The documents reveal a brutal history of alien oppression, one that Earth has been forced to forgive in exchange for its survival. Mara feels the weight of her discovery. Exposing these crimes could undo everything. The fragile peace would shatter, the coalition could collapse, and Earth would be left alone, vulnerable once again. But how can she stand by and allow this to continue? The truth, she knows, cannot stay hidden forever.
As Mara delves deeper, she uncovers the true cost of the peace settlement. It's not just the Virellan crimes that haunt her. It's the subtle, insidious compromises Earth made to join the Galactic Coalition. Earth's role, once that of a proud fighter, has been reduced to that of a vassal. Key decisions are made by the Virellans, leaving Earth's leaders marginalized, forced to accept their terms for the sake of stability. Mara walks through the gleaming halls of Earth's new headquarters in the Coalition. The walls, made from the same gleaming metal as the Virellan ships, seem to mock her. The shining city, the promise of peace, all of it feels like a gilded cage. Earth has gained a seat at the table, but it has been forced to relinquish its pride. The treaties signed were not about equality, but about control. The more Mara uncovers, the more she realizes how much Earth has sacrificed in this grand political game. Its dignity, its autonomy, these were traded away, hidden behind the facade of peace. And as she continues to study the Virelin records, the truth becomes clearer. Earth's involvement in the galactic order is a lie, a dangerous, delicate lie. Mara's discoveries grow darker. Every document she uncovers, every conversation she overhears confirms her fears. The Virelins, while presenting themselves as peacekeepers, have manipulated Earth at every turn. The peace treaty, once hailed as the solution to centuries of conflict, now feels like a shackle, a tool for Virelin control. Mara walks through the gleaming halls of Earth's new headquarters in the Coalition. The walls, made from the same gleaming metal as the Virelin ships, seem to mock her. The shining city, the promise of peace, all of it feels like a gilded cage. Earth has gained a seat at the table, but it has been forced to relinquish its pride. The treaties signed were not about equality, but about control. The more Mara uncovers, the more she realizes how much Earth has sacrificed in this grand political game. Its dignity, its autonomy, these were traded away, hidden behind the facade of peace. And as she continues to study the Virelin records, the truth becomes clearer. Earth's involvement in the galactic order is a lie, a dangerous, delicate lie. Mara's discoveries grow darker. Every document she uncovers, every conversation she overhears confirms her fears. The Virelins, while presenting themselves as peacekeepers, have manipulated Earth at every turn. The peace treaty, once hailed as the solution to centuries of conflict, now feels like a shackle, a tool for Virelin control. Mara stands before a council of Earth's leaders, their faces grim but resolute. They know, just as she does, that the peace comes at a price. But what price? How much has Earth really lost in the name of survival? The tension in the room is palpable. Earth's leaders are too afraid to speak out, too afraid of breaking the fragile peace. Mara feels the betrayal in her bones. Earth is playing along, accepting the Virelin terms, but at what cost? The unity that once fueled Earth's rebellion now feels like a shadow, a fleeting memory. The stakes are higher than ever. To expose the truth is to risk everything. The peace, Earth's fragile standing in the galaxy, perhaps even its future. But can Mara continue to live with the knowledge of this betrayal? The moral conflict within Mara intensifies. She knows that what she has discovered could change everything. Exposing the truth about the Virelins' war crimes could unravel the peace and leave Earth vulnerable to galactic retribution. But how can she live with herself if she remains silent? Her nights are filled with sleepless reflection. She walks through Earth's devastated memorials, haunted by the faces of those who fought and died for freedom, faces that never had the chance to see this peace, this gilded illusion. In the quiet of the night, Mara makes her decision. The truth must come out. The peace, built on lies and bloodshed, cannot stand. Earth's dignity, its sovereignty, and its legacy are worth more than the fragile stability the Virelins have created. But as she prepares to expose the truth, she knows that this will not be easy. Her decision will spark a new war, one that could destroy everything Earth has worked for. But the road to redemption is never easy, and sometimes the price of justice is steep. As Mara steps into the cold darkness of the unknown, one thing is certain. The battle for Earth's future has only just begun.
The soft hum of the control room was the only sound breaking the silence. Mara Keen sat at the terminal, eyes narrowing as she deciphered the encrypted transmission. Her fingers hovered over the console, decoding layer after layer of complex encryption. It had taken her weeks to isolate the source, a hidden faction of humans, one of the last surviving resistance groups. The transmission finally decoded, and a single line flashed across the screen. "They killed us for peace." Mara froze, her breath caught in her throat. The room seemed to darken as the weight of the words sunk in. "They killed us for peace." The phrase echoed in her mind, gnawing at her, questioning the very foundation of the peace Earth had fought for.
The Verilans, those cold, calculating aliens, had brokered the treaty that had ended the War of Unification, an alliance, a supposed peace. But what if it wasn't peace at all? What if it was just a veil hiding the true cost? Her pulse quickened, the cry for justice. How many lives had been sacrificed, swept under the rug for this fragile peace? She leaned back in her chair, her mind racing. Mara was no stranger to war, to suffering. But this was different. This was a betrayal of the worst kind, one that threatened to unravel everything she had fought to protect. Hours later, Mara found herself deep in research, her mind consumed with the discovery. The encrypted transmission had led her to a hidden cache of files, among them an unmarked video file. Her hands shook as she opened it, and the grainy footage flickered to life. The image showed Kepri 7, once a thriving human colony, now nothing more than a ghost of its former self. The camera panned over charred remains, the air thick with smoke. Destruction, death. Human civilians were caught in the crossfire, their cries muffled by the roar of gunfire. The footage was haunting. But worse, this massacre had been covered up by the very forces that claimed to protect them. Her breath was shallow as she watched. The footage, recorded during the War of Unification, revealed the truth behind the Verilans' so-called peace, a brutal slaughter to silence any opposition to their control. The massacre was deliberate, and Earth's leaders had known. The weight of the video was suffocating. This wasn't just a tragedy, it was a betrayal, a calculated, systematic murder of humanity's own to maintain the peace with the Verilans, a peace that now tasted like ash in her mouth. Her fist clenched, her eyes burning with anger. There was no turning back now. Mara pored over documents, her mind reeling as she uncovered more of the truth. The Galactic Unity Law, signed in the aftermath of the War of Unification, had been heralded as the instrument of peace, a document that bound Earth to the Galactic Coalition, allowing them access to advanced technology and political influence, but it came at a terrible price. The massacre on Kepri 7 had been deliberately suppressed under the law, swept away in the name of political stability. The law had justified the deaths. In the name of peace, the truth had been buried. And now as Mara sifted through the records, it became painfully clear the peace treaty that Earth had signed was nothing more than a transaction, sacrifice after sacrifice for the sake of galactic unity. Mara's mind reeled, her heart heavy with the implications. The human cost had been too high. But her discovery didn't end there. She could feel the walls closing in, the weight of the truth pressing on her chest. If the people of Earth knew what she knew, would they still consider this peace worth it? Would they still trust the Galactic Coalition? As she sat back, the crushing realization settled in. Earth had traded its morality for security, its dignity for survival. And now Mara was left to pick up the pieces.
Mara's resolve hardened. She couldn't remain silent. She stormed into the embassy, her anger simmering beneath the surface. Earth Ambassador, a man she had respected, sat behind his polished desk, his eyes betraying nothing as she approached. Ambassador, Mara's voice was cold, sharp. We need to talk about Kepri 7. The ambassador's expression remained neutral, but she could see the flicker of discomfort in his eyes. What of it, Commander? Mara's fists clenched. The massacre, the cover-up, the price Earth paid for peace. She threw the video file on his desk, the images of death and destruction stark against the polished surface. This was swept under the rug, and you, she choked on her words, her emotions threatening to boil over. You knew about it. You signed that law. The ambassador leaned back in his chair, his face impassive. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. We didn't have the luxury of standing up for every single life lost during the war. Earth needed peace. The galaxy needed peace. What's done is done. Mara's heart pounded, her fury rising. You think it's just done? You think we can just move on from this? His voice was calm, too calm. It was a necessary compromise, Mara. We didn't have a choice. But she did, and she wasn't going to stand for it.
Her voice trembled with barely contained rage. A compromise that cost human lives? A compromise that erased the very essence of our dignity? How could you? The ambassador's gaze hardened. Do you want to risk everything for a handful of lives? We've done what we had to do for Earth's survival. Mara turned on her heel, her decision made. The ambassador's cold betrayal echoed in her mind as she walked away. Later that night, Mara stood alone in her quarters staring out at the stars. The weight of her discovery, the betrayal of her own government, it was all too much. The peace Earth had fought for was a lie, and now it was her duty to expose the truth. She could feel the weight of the decision pressing on her. To speak out was to risk everything, her career, her reputation, her safety. But how could she live with herself knowing the truth and doing nothing? Mara's hand gripped the edge of the desk, her breath shallow. The peace wasn't worth it, not if it meant hiding the truth of what had happened to the people of Capri 7. And so, in that moment, she made the decision that would change everything. She would go rogue. She would take the truth to the galaxy, no matter the cost. Mara's heart raced as she sprinted through the darkened corridors of the base. Her mind was set. There was no turning back now. She had broken into the hangar, and there, hidden in the shadows, was a stealth cruiser, one of Earth's most advanced ships. She had to move fast. The Coalition would be looking for her soon, but she wasn't going to let them stop her. Not when the truth was at stake. With trembling hands, she accessed the ship's systems, bypassing the security protocols. The familiar hum of the ship's engines filled her ears as she powered it up. As the stealth cruiser lifted off the ground, she glanced out at the stars ahead. Capri 7 was her destination. She would find the evidence, expose the truth, and take down the veil of peace once and for all. Her future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The galaxy would know the truth, and Mara Keen would be its messenger.
The stage is set for Mara's journey into the heart of the rebellion. What she uncovers will alter the course of history and expose the true cost of the peace they thought they had won. The sleek hull of Mara's shuttle touches down on the scorched surface of Capri 7, the once thriving colony now reduced to a graveyard of rusted metal and charred skeletons. The planet's atmosphere hangs heavy, a muted orange haze blotting out the stars above. Mara's eyes scan the desolate landscape, the aftermath of a massacre so terrible it never made the records. She steps out, her boots crunching against the ash-covered ground, the cold bite of the wind scraping across her face. The planet is silent, as though mourning its lost lives. Her heart races as she kneels beside the remains of an old data core buried deep beneath the rubble, its metallic surface cracked but still functional. With a few deft movements, Mara connects her handheld decoder to the device. A digital hum fills the air as ancient data streams through her device. The message is clear, an unfiltered account of the Virellan strike. They killed us for peace. Mara feels her breath catch. The words linger in the still air, a harrowing reminder that the price of peace was paid in blood. The AI memory cores contain more than data. They hold the memories of those who died here, their final moments captured in frozen digital clarity. Her fingers hover over the device, knowing that the truth hidden here could ignite the galaxy into chaos. She holds her breath, eyes flickering over the data. This is more than a revelation. It's a moral choice, one that could destroy everything humanity thought it had achieved. Before Mara can delve deeper into the data, a sudden vibration shakes the ground beneath her feet. The unmistakable hum of a Virellan hunter-class enforcer ship rips through the silence. A shadow looms overhead, its sleek, angular design cutting through the orange sky. She looks up. The enemy is here. The ship's descent kicks up ash and debris, blocking out the sun as it settles just above the wreckage. Mara's pulse quickens as the large warship hovers, its engines thrumming with deadly precision. They're here to silence her. Mara quickly tucks the AI core into her bag, her mind racing as she scrambles to find cover. The ship's sensors are already sweeping the landscape. She knows she has little time. Every second counts. Her options are slim: escape or fight. But escape is only possible if she outsmarts the Virellans. A deep, mechanical voice crackles through her comms. "You cannot hide, Mara Keen. Surrender now." Her fingers tremble, but her mind remains sharp. Not today. She activates her shuttle's cloaking system, praying the stealth tech will be enough. With a burst of speed, she launches herself into the air, heading for the mountains where she can lose herself in the craggy terrain. The Hunter-class ship follows, relentless as Mara pushes her ship to its limits. Her breath is steady, but her thoughts are clouded with the weight of what she's uncovered. Kepri 7 was just the beginning.
Hours later, Mara's shuttle shakes violently as a sudden force field flickers to life around her. She's been pulled into the tractor beam of the Virellin vessel. The voice on the comms returns, cold, emotionless. "Captain Rel'Thos requests your presence." Mara grits her teeth as her shuttle is hauled aboard. The Virellin ship's airlock opens with a hiss, and she steps into the gleaming metal halls, the sterile environment pressing in on her. At the far end, standing tall and poised, is Captain Rel'Thos. He's an imposing figure, his dark armor etched with symbols of Virellin honor, yet his eyes betray a weariness that speaks of internal conflict. Rel'Thos is no ordinary officer. He's a loyalist, yes, but one haunted by the ghosts of his actions. He believes in the peace treaty with Earth, but his past is a blood-soaked one. "You've uncovered the truth, haven't you?" Rel'Thos's voice is low, almost regretful. Mara meets his gaze, fury bubbling inside her. "You've slaughtered us for your peace. Don't pretend you didn't know." Rel'Thos' hands tighten into fists. "You think I don't know what I've done? I was there, Mara. I watched it all. But peace requires sacrifice. You of all people should understand that." The bitterness in his voice cuts through the air like a blade. Mara steps forward, her resolve hardening. "No, Captain. Peace shouldn't require the blood of innocents." A flicker of doubt crosses Rel'Thos's face. For a moment, it's as if the weight of his decisions presses down on him. But then the familiar armor of duty returns, and he straightens. "I will protect this peace, Mara, even if it means destroying you." Just as the tension between Mara and Rel'Thos reaches a boiling point, a third figure steps forward from the shadows, Veline. The Virellin scientist, once a respected member of the regime, now walks with the weight of betrayal on his shoulders. His once pristine uniform is now stained with the scars of his exile. Veline's defection is the only thing that has allowed him to stand in the presence of the human resistance. His knowledge of the Virellin Empire's darkest secrets is invaluable to Mara's cause. "You don't have to do this, Mara," Veline says quietly, his voice tinged with regret. "We've both been lied to. The peace treaty wasn't meant to unify, it was meant to assimilate." Mara turns to face him, the grim truth settling over her. "You knew?" He nods, guilt hanging heavily on his expression. "I was part of it once, but the more I learned, the more I understood. The Virellins want nothing more than to erase your people." Mara looks back at Rel'Thos, whose face has gone ashen with the admission. The room grows heavy with the weight of what's being said. "I can't undo what I've done," Veline says, eyes locked on the captain, "but I can help you make it right." Rel'Thos, torn between loyalty to his people and the undeniable truth in front of him, clenches his jaw. "Then you're both traitors." Veline's response is cold, final. "Then we're all traitors." The story now shifts back in time, unveiling the grim truth of the Virellin so-called peace.
Through haunting flashbacks, Mara and Valine uncover the disturbing events that led to the massacre on Khepri 7, an event engineered by the Varellan regime to erase humanity's resistance. In these moments, the Varellans' true goals come into focus: complete cultural absorption of humanity, a subjugation masquerading as unity. The peace treaty wasn't about mutual coexistence. It was a calculated move to break humanity's spirit and force them to submission. The weight of this knowledge becomes an anchor in Mara's chest, her heart pounding with the revelation. Earth's leaders, blinded by the promise of advanced technology, sold their people's freedom for a fleeting illusion of safety.
The deeper Mara and Velian venture into the Varellan archives, the heavier the burden on Mara's shoulders becomes. She's found the truth, and with it, a choice. Should she expose the truth to the galaxy, risking all-out war, or protect the fragile peace, knowing that her silence would make her complicit? Velian watches her closely. You know what they'll do if you reveal this, Mara. The galaxy isn't ready for the truth. It could unravel everything. Mara's voice is a whisper, filled with uncertainty. What's worse, the peace we have, built on lies, or the chaos that will come when the truth is exposed? Her mind spins with the weight of that question. The fear of what revealing the truth could mean for Earth, for humanity, presses down on her. But the cost of silence is just as unbearable. Mara stands alone in the control room of her shuttle, staring at the transmission device in her hands. The truth is at her fingertips. All she has to do is send it out, and the galaxy will know what the Varellans did to Khepri 7. But the consequences are unimaginable. The delicate peace treaty will fracture. The galaxy could fall into chaos, with Earth caught in the center of a brewing war. She breathes in deeply, her heart racing as she considers the enormity of the decision before her. The truth is a powerful weapon, but sometimes weapons are dangerous to wield. Finally, with a decisive motion, Mara presses the button. The truth will be known, and whatever happens next, Earth will face the consequences. The silence of Khepri 7, now a desolate ruin of shattered stones and hollowed structures, contrasts sharply with the crackling hum of Mara's transmission equipment. She watches the flickering screens, her heart pounding. The data from the AI cores, the truth of the Varellan massacre, flashes across the monitors. It's all there: the violent strike, the systematic slaughter, the chilling evidence of a galaxy-wide conspiracy. She takes a deep breath, then presses the button. Let the galaxy hear the truth, she whispers to herself. Her transmission pulses across the stars, an unrelenting wave of revelation. Across the galaxy, from the bustling colonies to the cold silence of distant outposts, Mara's message breaks through, raw and undeniable. News channels scramble to report, and soon the galaxy is filled with the tremors of her actions. People everywhere, human and alien alike, watch in stunned disbelief. The truth behind the Varellan peace treaty is revealed, and with it, the brutal cost of that peace. The coalition's leaders struggle to maintain control, but it's too late. The truth has already set the galaxy ablaze. Protests erupt. Civil disobedience spreads like wildfire, a beacon of rebellion in the darkness. The once stable unity of the Galactic Coalition now hangs on a thread. The implications of Mara's broadcast ripple across the stars. The galaxy will never be the same again. In the council chambers of the Galactic Coalition, the news has hit like a bomb. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy argue vehemently, their voices echoing against the walls of the grand, sterile hall. Faces once calm are now twisted in anger and fear. Her actions have threatened everything we've worked for, one counselor shouts, slamming his fist on the table. Another spits, his eyes narrow with contempt. Mara is a criminal. She must be arrested and tried for treason. Within hours, a tribunal is set in motion, and Mara's name is declared synonymous with betrayal. The council, terrified of the truth she has unleashed, moves swiftly to protect their fragile peace at all costs. The truth is now their enemy, and they will do anything to silence it. But Mara is no longer just a lone rebel. She is a symbol, a beacon for those who want the truth to be heard, no matter the cost.
As the council debates her fate, the public grows restless, knowing that the galaxy's future is hanging in the balance. Mara and Velian stand in the ruins of Khepri 7, the decaying remnants of the once thriving planet around them. The rusted skeletons of ships lay scattered, a testament to the destruction that followed the massacre. The air is thick with tension, but Mara's resolve is unshaken. "This is it," Velian mutters, his voice tense. "Once we do this, there's no turning back." Mara nods, her eyes scanning the horizon. The Hunter-class Virilin ship that had been tailing them is no longer in sight, but the threat still lingers in the air, an invisible weight pressing down on her chest. But the message must be sent. There is no other choice. With a steady hand, she presses the broadcast button. A live transmission flares to life, and Mara's voice rings out across the galaxy. "We have been lied to. We've been told we were at peace, but that peace came at a price that was paid in blood." As her words echo across the stars, the reaction is immediate. Millions of eyes turn to the broadcast, the weight of her words sinking in. Across the galaxy, people sit frozen in shock, while others begin to stir with anger. The truth is out there now, and nothing will ever be the same. But the message is more than just a declaration of war. It is a challenge to the very foundation of the Galactic Coalition. As Mara speaks, she feels the full gravity of her actions. This is the beginning of something much larger than herself. The air around Khepri 7 crackles with tension as Captain Ralphos steps from his ship, his cold eyes fixed on Mara. He is here to arrest her, to silence the rebellion she sparked. His expression is one of grim determination, but beneath it lies something darker, an old guilt he has tried to bury. "You're a criminal, Mara," he says, his voice low, yet carrying a cold edge. "You've endangered everything we've worked for. You don't know what you've unleashed." Mara stands her ground, her gaze unwavering. "I know exactly what I've unleashed, Captain, and I know exactly who you are." Ralphos falters for a moment, his gaze flicking nervously to the side. It's enough for Mara to notice. She steps forward, her voice rising. "You were the one who gave the order. You were the one who slaughtered those people on Khepri 7. The one who hid the truth for years, all in the name of peace." The color drains from Ralphos's face. The mask he has worn for so long is now shattered. The weight of his past, the atrocities he has tried so hard to bury, now comes rushing back to him. His allegiance to the Virilin regime has always been tempered with guilt, but now the truth is out, and there is no escape from it. You don't know what it was like," he murmurs, his voice breaking. "We were fighting for peace. I did what I had to do." The words hang in the air, heavy with years of regret and self-deception, but it's too late for excuses. Mara stands firm, the truth now fully revealed. Ralphos, the man who was once a hero, is now exposed as the monster he has always been.
The streets of every major city erupt in chaos as the news spreads. Protests turn into riots as people demand justice, their voices ringing out against the false peace the Virilins have imposed. Humans and aliens, long divided by cultural differences, now find common ground in their desire for a galaxy that is truly just. The anger is palpable as the harsh reality of the Virilin oppression sinks in. From the distant colonies of Earth to the once silent worlds of the Zalvins, the people rise. The call for justice cannot be silenced. Everywhere resistance forms. Small groups of rebels, public outcries, and clandestine movements all unite under a single banner: the truth. The rebellion is no longer just about the massacre. It's about the very fabric of the galaxy's future. Will they allow this monstrous system to continue, or will they rise up and demand something better? The galaxy has been awakened. As Mara slips through the crumbling ruins, narrowly escaping the Virilin pursuit, Khepri 7 is left behind as more than just a graveyard. It has become a symbol,
one that transcends death and destruction. Khepri 7 is now a rallying point for the galaxy's oppressed, a testament to the sacrifices made in the name of truth. The rebellion that Mara has ignited is growing, spreading like wildfire. The Varellans can no longer silence the people. The false peace they had built is unraveling, piece by piece. And Khepri 7, once a symbol of loss, now stands as a beacon for those who seek a better future. The galaxy is in turmoil. Civil war brews on every corner of the known universe, and the once stable coalition is crumbling. The truth that Mara exposed has set the galaxy on a path of uncertainty. A new order is beginning to rise, but at what cost? Mara looks out over the battlefield, her heart heavy with the weight of her actions. She has sparked a revolution, but now she wonders if she has unleashed something she can't control. The galaxy stands at a crossroads, its future hanging in the balance. Will it be reborn from the ashes of the old, or will it descend into chaos? As Mara steps into the unknown, one thing is certain. The galaxy will never be the same again. The cost of truth is high, but it may be the only way forward. The once unshakable Varellan Empire is in turmoil. As the galaxy trembles under the weight of Mara's revelations, the Empire's tightly controlled reign begins to unravel. Within the Varellan territories, the cracks are widening, and the Empire is losing its iron grip on power. From distant colonies to the heart of the Empire, a tide of revolt swells, sweeping through the Varellan ranks like wildfire. Mara's broadcast, the truth of the Varellan massacre, has lit a fire. The citizens who once cowered under the oppressive regime now rise, emboldened by the possibility of a better future. The people, both human and alien, join forces in resistance, their anger palpable in every corner of the galaxy. This wave of rebellion is a testament to the power of truth and the unyielding human spirit. The Varellan response is brutal. Military forces clash with insurgents, once untouchable leaders are betrayed by their own wing, and the Empire begins to fracture. The unshakable peace they once claimed is revealed to be nothing more than a fragile illusion, masking the deep scars of violence and betrayal. The Varellans' reign is no longer certain. Their empire is collapsing from within.
In the wake of Mara's broadcast, Earth rises, its voice no longer silent in the shadow of galactic powers. Humanity, no longer content to be mere bystanders, steps forward with a bold and defiant declaration: the formation of the Justice Accord. The Accord is not just a political body, it is a symbol of humanity's moral reckoning, a council formed to investigate the atrocities of the Varellans, holding them accountable for the countless crimes committed in the name of conquest. No longer content to be subjugated or manipulated, Earth unites its colonies to stand tall as leaders of this new era. The Justice Accord is a testament to humanity's ability to adopt, to evolve from passive victims to active moral leaders in a galaxy that once saw them as weak and inconsequential. The formation of the Accord is not without resistance, but it signals a decisive shift in the galactic order, where justice and accountability will now drive the actions of the future. Despite the chaos she helped unleash, Mara is exiled. The powers that be fear her influence, the truths she uncovered too dangerous to let linger within the galaxy. But the exile of Mara only cements her legacy as a hero. Her actions have changed the course of history, her name now synonymous with resistance and courage. As she leaves the galaxy she fought for, Mara is conflicted. She sacrificed everything for the truth, her career, her home, her very future. Yet her exile is not a punishment. It is a symbol of the price one pays for doing what is right. The galaxy may have cast her out, but her impact is far from over. In the hearts of those who believe in justice, Mara will remain a beacon of hope. Though she may be exiled, her cause lives on, inspiring others to take up the mantle of resistance. In a galaxy where truth was a weapon, Mara's sacrifice becomes the spark that ignites the fires of change. Velen's return to the Varellan heartlands marks a critical turning point in the Empire's fractured society. Once disgraced and reviled for his involvement in the regime's atrocities, Velen now returns, not as a conqueror, but as a man seeking redemption.
In the wake of the Empire's collapse, Velen seeks to rebuild from the ashes of a shattered legacy. His return is fraught with moral complexity. Can one truly rebuild a society founded on oppression, or is the damage too deep? As Velen attempts to rebuild the Virellan society, he faces the ghosts of his past, and the moral questions of his actions continue to haunt him. His efforts are not easily accepted. There are those who see him as a traitor, others who view him as a symbol of change, and still others who question whether the very foundations of the Virellan Empire can ever be reformed. His journey is not just about mending a broken society, but about finding his own redemption. Captain Relthos is gone, vanished without a trace. In the wake of the Virellan Empire's collapse, whispers spread that the once feared commander is rallying a loyalist faction in secret, plotting his return. Relthos' disappearance leaves a dark cloud hanging over the galaxy. Though the Virellan Empire has fallen, his potential return represents a lingering threat, one that could bring the galaxy back to the brink of war. The whispers grow louder, each rumor adding to the mystery and fear surrounding his disappearance. As the galaxy tries to rebuild, the shadow of Relthos looms large. The possibility of his return, along with the loyalists who would follow him, casts doubt on the fragile peace humanity has fought so hard to achieve. The galaxy may be in the midst of transformation, but the specter of Relthos' revenge is never far behind.
The galaxy has been forever changed. The corrupt, secretive order that once defined the peace has crumbled, replaced by a new foundation built on transparency and accountability. The Virellan Empire's collapse has paved the way for a new era, one where the truth no longer remains hidden behind closed doors, and the people of the galaxy are no longer silenced. The creation of the Justice Accord marks the beginning of this new era. Governments once built on lies are now being forced to answer for their actions. The balance of power has shifted. No longer is it the strong who dictate the course of history, but the people who demand justice. The galaxy, once mired in corruption, now faces a future where accountability is paramount. It is an uncertain road ahead, but one filled with the possibility of a better tomorrow. This new chapter will not be easy, but it is a necessary one. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The scars of war, betrayal, and loss are deep, but so too is the hope that now fills the hearts of its people. The journey toward rebuilding is long and fraught with challenges, but the events that have unfolded, Mara's revelations, the fall of the Virellan Empire, the rise of the Justice Accord, have ignited a spark of change that cannot be extinguished. The road to true peace is uncertain. The galaxy is still reeling from the fallout of years of silence and corruption. But there is hope now, where once there was only fear and oppression. The people of the galaxy, human and alien alike, have begun to rebuild, learning from the mistakes of the past. In this new future, there is the possibility for growth, for unity, and for justice. The people who once endured unimaginable suffering now have the power to shape the future of the galaxy. A future where truth and transparency, not deceit and conquest, guide the way. There is hope even in the darkest of times, that the stars may yet shine brighter. The gentle winds of Khepri 7 swept through the memorial garden, its peaceful surroundings a stark contrast to the echoes of past violence. The landscape was bathed in soft golden light, the flora gently swaying in the breeze as a young Virellan child stood frozen before the grand memorial. Her large eyes reflected the serene beauty of the place, but there was a quiet uncertainty in her gaze, a question unspoken but heavy nonetheless. The stone pillars around her were etched with the names of those who had fought, those who had sacrificed, and those who had fallen. It was a space for remembrance, but also one that hinted at the cost of peace. The child, dressed in the humble robes of a new Virellan society, could not yet comprehend the full weight of what this garden represented. She could only sense the traces of something powerful, something that shaped the future, the aftermath of a galactic battle for truth and justice, the echoes of Mara's voice. She lowered her head and whispered, "I will learn what happened. I will understand."
The hum of the holographic system broke the stillness as the child approached the center of the memorial. A projector flickered to life, casting the translucent figure of Mara, standing tall, her voice reverberating through the air. Peace without justice is nothing more than control. Mara's face, captured in a moment of defiance, seemed to stare directly at the child. The words, once spoken in the heat of revolution, now hung in the air, immortalized for eternity. In this quiet place where life had begun to heal, the weight of her statement was as potent as it had been when first delivered. The child, although still too young to fully grasp the historical significance, felt the power of those words. Mara had not merely sought peace, she had fought for the truth to take precedence, no matter the cost.
A small plaque, weathered by time but never forgotten, stood at the very heart of the memorial garden. Its inscription was simple yet profound. Truth without comfort, peace without lies. The child's fingers traced the cold metal, and the words seemed to pulse with significance. Truth without comfort, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the wind. She did not yet understand the full meaning of this phrase, but it resonated within her, a reminder that peace built on lies is no peace at all. This plaque had become more than a mere inscription. It was a philosophy, a way of life. It symbolized the shift in the galaxy, a change from silence to accountability, from fear to understanding. A new era where truth was no longer buried beneath the surface. The child, still caught in the maze of her thoughts, turned to the teacher standing beside her. Did she win? It was a simple question, but one that carried the weight of centuries of conflict. The teacher, an older Virellan with weathered features and a soft gaze, knelt down beside the child. His voice was steady, as if weighing his words carefully. Victory isn't always as clear as winning a battle or claiming a prize, the teacher said slowly. Mara did not seek to conquer. She sought to change the very foundation of the galaxy. And that kind of victory, it's not something you can see immediately. The child frowned, unsure of the meaning behind his words, but she could feel the depth of the teacher's wisdom. The teacher's gaze softened as he looked out across the garden, his thoughts seemingly far away, reflecting a past he had lived through. She didn't come to win. She came to make us remember. His words echoed in the quiet garden, settling in the child's heart. The teacher's tone was calm, but heavy with the truth of it. Mara's actions, though marked with sacrifice and pain, had set the galaxy on a path towards something greater. It was not about winning a war. It was about ensuring that the lessons of that war would never fade. She made us face the truth, child, and that in itself was the greatest victory. The child looked back at the holograms, her heart swelling with an unfamiliar sense of hope. The battle for justice was not over, but she could see now that Mara's legacy would live on, carried forward by every generation that chose to remember.